Hey folks, I'm here to do part one of a two-part CD pickup. This first video is going to focus more on country and R&B. The next one will focus more on rock. Most of these I picked up in bargain bins, or we've got some places here in town where you can take your old CDs, DVDs, what have you, and trade them in for store credit. And I've done a little bit of that too. And so I'm just going to jump in here. We'll tell you that I'm going to be pulling a lot of these covers out because there are stickers and stuff on that prevent you from seeing the albums clearly. And we want everybody to see the albums clearly, right, Jake? Or the CDs? Okay. First up, I don't do a lot of hip-hop or rap or anything like that on here, but found an artist that was kind of old school. So, Rev Run, Distortion. Of course, remember listening to Aerosmith and Run DMC, and just thought I'd give it a shot. It was real cheap. I think a couple videos ago I showed Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation. Well, I found Control. Listened to this album a lot in my early 20s. So I was real pleased to pick that up. Great album. The next album I'm not familiar with at all. It's a compilation album. It's called Nuggets of the Golden Age of Gospel. It says it's compiled and annotated by Opal Lewis Nations. I don't know, but on the front it also, the first band listed was the Soul Stirrers, which was the gospel group. If I'm not mistaken, was the gospel group that Sam Cooke came up in. So I thought I would give them a try. The more I examined the CD, I noticed that Frank Sinatra, it's a song called I've Got a Home in That Rock, Frank Sinatra and the Chariot of Tears, and I didn't know Frank Sinatra had done any gospel. Also has a song on here by the Five Blind Boys of Alabama. The Dixie Hummingbirds are on here. Shirley Caesar. Mighty Clouds of Joy. Wynonna Carr. So there are a number of artists that I'm familiar with on this CD. It was so cheap, I just thought, man, that'd be a good way to try to discover some gospel artists that I haven't heard before. The next one, Yolanda Adams, Songs from the Heart. Of course, she has become quite the name in gospel music over the years. Here's the back. I don't see a year on this. 1998 maybe. This one I was so excited about getting. Unfortunately, I can't show you all the insides because the teeth are broke out of the spindle, so I'm going to have to get a new spindle to put it in. This is probably the one that I paid the most for, and that's Tamla Mann. The album is called The Live Experience. Very excited about this because not only is it it's 2 discs. 1 disc is a CD and 1 disc is a DVD. And I have been a huge Tamla Mann fan ever since I saw the Tyler Perry play What's Done in the Dark, and she does a gospel song called Step Aside. And I love vocal performances, and it doesn't happen to me very often, but sometimes a good vocal performance will send chills up and down my spine, and when she sang Step Aside, wow, just blew me away. So there's the back of it. So that's Tamla Mann, The Live Experience. Thrilled to have, that's been on my want list for a long time, so I was really thrilled to get that one. Now we're going to go more country. Dolly Parton, I Will Always Love You, and other hits. Interestingly enough, Jolene is not on this. You would think that that's probably one of her best known songs. What caught my attention with this CD was that there is a Don Francisco song on it called He's Alive, and that's a very famous gospel song. And so, yeah, I found that super cheap. I think I paid 50 cents for that. The next one, another young lady, I think this will make my 3rd album of hers. She's kind of in that country vein. Casey Chambers, The Captain. This album has guest appearances by Buddy and Julie Miller, who are 2 of my absolute favorites. That's Casey Chambers. Found this for 50 cents. Man, it's Dwight Yoakam, Gone. Don't know much about this album, but it's Dwight Yoakam. I don't know that you need to know much more than that. Can't wait to hear what he did on this album. Some of these other ones were sealed, actually, and couldn't believe it. Alan Jackson, Precious Memories. I'm not a huge Alan Jackson fan, but this album is a hymns album. So it probably sounds more country than, well, I don't know. He was never really a new country kind of guy. So, but this one, I was really glad to pick up. I have, of course, everybody is familiar with Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt, and Dolly Parton's first album, The Trio. Well, I found the sequel, Trio 2. That's still sealed. That same group, I found an old collection of the Carter family. The collection's not old, but it's a collection of old songs that they did. You gotta have some Carter family in your collection if you're gonna call yourself a real country fan, I think. Then I found this tribute album for June Carter Cash, Anchored in Love. Great guests on this, like Willie Nelson, Loretta Lynn, Patty Loveless, Chris Christopherson, Ronnie Dunn, Roseanne Cash, Billy Joe Shaver, Ralph Stanley, Emmylou Harris, just to name a few. Then another bargain bin, I found a soundtrack to Walk the Line. Not sure how much I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm such a big Johnny Cash collector. I could not pass up on the soundtrack for his biopic. Then I found this. Real excited to hear this. This is Ricky Skaggs and Friends. The songs, Ricky Skaggs and Friends sing the songs of Bill Monroe. So, if you're a bluegrass fan, you know, and I found this for $1, man. And listen to these guests: Bruce Hornsby, Dolly Parton, Patty Loveless, John Fogerty, the Whites, Travis Tritt, Charlie Daniels, Dwight Yoakam. That's just part of the list. That's going to be, well, oh, nice thick book with lots of pictures of old pictures. Nice tribute to Bill Monroe. Next album on the prestigious Cracker Barrel label, Kenny Rogers, The Love of God. You know, I say that jokingly, but I like a lot of the stuff that comes out through Cracker Barrel. I think part of it is because they're not catering to the new country crowd, really. They're catering to older folks, and older folks who like their country real. So, yeah. So that's Kenny Rogers, The Love of God, a gospel album. Steve Green, Hymns, A Portrait of Christ. Steve Green is just an amazing vocalist. This is not country so much as it would be what I guess is described as middle of the road. Maybe adult contemporary might be a good description. It has a booklet with lyrics, yeah, Steve Green is such a tremendous vocalist, and to have a Hymns album by him, great pickup for me. And then finally, Our Hymns. It's a various artist compilation. This was put out by Word Records, so all the artists are Word artists. I don't know if you can tell Amy Grant there, Wayne Watson, Bonnie Keene. But for me, the big guy right here, Russ Taff. Russ is singing Near the Cross on here, but, you know, also on this album is Phil Keaggy and Petra, Bruce Carroll. A lot of good artists on this compilation album. And that does it for this pile. So let me get off here. I'll upload this and I'll try to shoot the next pile, because I've got the next two videos coming up. One's going to be the second part of this, and then the one after that, a buddy of mine called me. We went out today, and I scored some real great music DVDs because they were on sale. So for now, hope you're having a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.